Ladies and gentlemen, Fred Okengo Matiang'I has actually become one of the top political leaders who want to stop at presidency. Let come 2027 presidential election. And Fred Okengo Matiang'I has actually surprised very many people in this nation because from the time when he said that he was going to go for presidency, his name is being felt in the most corners of this republic. And many people see Fred Okengo Matiang'I as the savior of the Kenyans because they perceive Fred Okengo Matiang'I as a transformative person, as a no-nonsense person, as a person who can actually make this country to come back to its economical track. But since the time when Fred Okengo Matiang'I had his homecoming and to announce to the Kenyans that he was going to step at the presidency of this nation, Fred Okengo Matiang'I has actually not come out strongly to tell the people of this nation which party he is going to use as his campaigning vehicle to step at presidency. But people are suspicious that Fred Okengo Matiang'I may either use Jubilee Party or he will use UPA political party. So those are two political parties that people are suspecting that Fred Okengo Matiang'I will use as his vehicle towards 2027 presidential election. But which is the right way for Fred Okengo Matiang'I, or which is the right party that Fred Okengo Matiang'I should use to stop at presidency, let come 2027? Should he use Jubilee as a political party, or he should use UPA as a political vehicle? That is actually what I want us to break down today and try to look at those political party and try to give a suggestion which is the most suitable party that he should use as his vehicle towards 2027 presidential election. But before we dive in and try to dissect for you, I could request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like, share the video to your friends. And whenever you subscribe to this YouTube channel, always make sure to smash the bell button, because by doing that, you will give YouTube permission so that you can get notified whenever we upload any political content into YouTube, so that you can be among the first people who will view that content. And now let us go back to the discussion. Which party should Fred Okengo Matiang'I use? Should he use Jubilee as a political party, or should he use UPA as a political party towards his 2027 presidential election? But first, let me give you the brief history about these two political parties. And let us start with Jubilee. Jubilee is a political party which has actually produced the president in this republic. Because if you remember, it was Jubilee party that made Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to be the president and William Samoei Arap Ruto to be his deputy. So that is the party which they used to stop at presidency of this nation. And Jubilee party was actually formed as a national political party by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Samoei Arap Ruto. So these two political leaders, they had their parties to, because William Samoei Ruto was actually having his own political party, and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta also was used to have his own political party, but they actually formed UDA as a political party to show the nation that it had a national outlook. So that party was used by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as the president and William Samoei Arap Ruto as the deputy, until when they disagreed during the second term of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And that made William Samoei Arap Ruto to form a new political party called UDA. And when UDA was formed, it was formed to have a national outlook like Jubilee. But now, Jubilee is back onto the hands of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, because Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is now the current leader of Jubilee, and Jeremiah Kioni is the Secretary General. And this party has actually come out and has said that it is the party that Fred Okengo Matiang'I will use let come 2027. But we also have another political party which is called UPA. And many say that this political party was formed by Fred Okengo Matiang'I towards 2022 presidential election. And this political party was among the alliance that formed Azimio. And UPA, by now, it has one MP, it has one governor, and it also has several members of county assembly, MCAs. And that is all about UPA, because it's not really known very well to the nation, because it's a small party. And currently, the person who is the leader of UPA is actually Nyaribo, the governor of Nyamira. And Nyaribo has come out and has said that Fred Okengo Matiang'I will be their presidential aspirant. Let come 2027 presidential election. But which is the best party that Fred Okengo Matiang'I should choose? Should he go with Jubilee, or should he go with UPA as a political party? If you were to ask this question to Rigathi Gachagua could tell you that Fred Okengo Matiang'I use UPA as a political party, because for Rigathi he feels that UPA is a homegrown from the Gusii nation, because it was formed by Fred Okengo Matiang'I, and Fred left it to Nyaribo, the governor of Nyamira. But if you were to ask me, which party should Fred Okengo Matiang'I use? First, I am going to break for you the disadvantages and advantages of using either of the party, and then I will conclude which party is suitable for Fred Okengo Matiang'I. First, let us start by saying that if Fred Okengo Matiang'I will use UPA as a political party, the disadvantage is that he is the founder of UPA. Another advantage is that he will have his own political party to control, because Jubilee is on the hands of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And at the same time, if they go for presidency and they fail, it means now that Fred Okengo Matiang'I will have a party which he will use to negotiate, because let's say UPA will have several what? MPs, governors, members of parliament, members of the Senate, and several MCAs. That means if he goes for 2027 presidential election and fails, then he will have a party which he will use to negotiate to be in the government, which actually will win 2022 presidential election. But what is the disadvantage of using UPA? One of the disadvantages is that UPA is being seen as a tribal party. It is being seen as a party for the people of Gusii, and it does not have that national outlooks. So those are the advantages of Fred Okengo Matiang'I using UPA, and the disadvantage of him using UPA, because he will be seen as a tribal kingpin in the entire nation. What about if he uses Jubilee as a political party? The first thing, Jubilee is a national party because it has produced a president, it has produced a deputy, and 2 consecutive terms. So if he will use Jubilee as his political vehicle, it means now that Fred Okengo Matiang'I will have a national outlook, and also he will have another advantage as a person who has been endorsed by the Mulima, and that means he is going to give Rigathi Gachagua a shock, because he will have very many political leaders who will win by using Jubilee. And remember, Jubilee is being supported by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. That means he is going to get all the support by the leader of Jubilee, who is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So he will get that national outlook. He will also be able to get finances easily from Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And at the same time, because of that national outlook, it's going to be very easy for this Jubilee as a political party to win across the republic, because many people will say, let us go with Jubilee. It has a national outlook. That means it will have more members of parliament, it will have more governors, it will have more members of the Senate, and it will have many MCAs across the nation. So those are the advantages of him using Jubilee as a national party, because he will also get the funding directly for campaigning from Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. But what are the disadvantages or the disadvantages of Fred Okengo Matiang'I using Jubilee. One of the disadvantages is that he will be used as a puppet because the leader will be Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. That means when he will be the president of the Republic of Kenya, if he wins, the person who will be driving that vehicle, it will not be Matiang'I, but it will be Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And therefore, anything which Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta will tell Fred Okengo Matiang'I, he must do it, or else he will be impeached. So that's one of the disadvantage. Another disadvantage is that because of using Jubilee as a political party, he may not get the support of Rigathi Gachagua, because Rigathi Gachagua may feel that because he has used Jubilee, he is going to bring him down politically, because Jubilee will fund or will have elective members of parliament or members who will be elected under that panel in the entire Mount Kenya. And that might make Rigathi Gachagua not to support Fred Okengo Matiang'I. So that's another disadvantage that Fred Okengo Matiang'I might get if he feels that, let me use Jubilee as a political party. Another thing is that you have seen in this nation, sometimes when you are being supported by a former president, you may get a rejection by the people of this nation, because people of Kenya, sometimes they feel that they should never be shown who should be the president of this republic. They always fought against the directive or the person who the former president always want to take power, the way they did to Raila Amolo Odinga. They called him the project of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So that means it is also likely that Fred Okengo Matiang'I may get that kind of rejection. So those are majorly the advantages and disadvantages of using those two parties. And now we come to another step. If it was for me to advise Fred Okengo Matiang'I which party he should use, I could go straight to advise him to use Jubilee as a political party. And then other things will follow after he wins. Because in this republic, the president is quite powerful. And the first thing a person will always wish to get is presidency. And because that is the number one thing when actually you want to campaign to any elective post, the first thing you don't want even to know who is supporting you, but you want to capture that seat. And because Fred Okengo Matiang'I wants to be the president of this republic, then he should use Jubilee as a political party, because one, it will give him a national outlook. Two, the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is there. He can provide finances for him, for the campaign. Because as you know, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is not an ordinary person. He's a wealthy man. Thirdly, there is a very high likelihood that that party will get more elective posts across the nation. And that is actually what any person will need when he is on power or when he is in power. And also because Jubilee is there, it will give Fred Okengo Matiang'I that he is not a tribal person because he has been endorsed by another tribe, not from the Kisii community. And at the same time, because as you remember last time, most people from Mount Kenya, they never heard the cry of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta when he told them that you should elect Raila Amolo Odinga. They rejected that. But this time, because people have felt the pinch of actually sidelining Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, they may actually fought for Matiang'I in totality or in masses, despite the disadvantages that may come from what? From that choice. So for me, I could tell Fred Okengo Matiang'I that your party of choice towards 2027 presidential election is Jubilee. You should stick with Jubilee and you should actually pronounce to the people of this nation that he is going to use Jubilee so that people can start aligning themselves with Jubilee and with Fred Okengo Matiang'I. I really don't know what's your take about this issue. Do you think Fred Okengo Matiang'I should use Jubilee as a political party, or he should use UPA as a political party? Please drop your comment in the comment section below. And if this is your first time to bump into this YouTube channel, I request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe, like this video, share this video to your friends, hit the notification bell, and lastly, request your friend or your friends to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And for those ones who have actually subscribed and they always keep watching our videos, I say thank you. May God bless you abundantly, because you always inspire us to continue coming up with this kind of political analysis. And with that, I say thank you until we meet in our next political conversation. Goodbye.